Today, we're talking about data tables, a what-if analysis tool in Excel that helps you to see how different input values affect the results of a problem you're trying to answer. Let's go through some mortgage scenarios, looking at different purchase parameters. All right, you should be looking at my mortgage calculator now, which I built to help us run through these different scenarios, looking at the different mortgage parameters. So the first input we need to enter is the property purchase price. Let's say you're looking at a budget of 750,000 USD, which of course your budget will vary drastically depending on where you're located. But let's say for now, we're looking at a budget of 750,000. Just go ahead and enter that. Down payment, that's the amount the bank will require you to pay at closing. And typically it's preferable to put down 20%. Otherwise, the bank will require you to pay what they call PMI or private mortgage insurance. But of course, 20% is hard to come up with for a lot of people. So let's say for now, we're able to come up with 15%. That translates to a down payment of $112,500 and a loan amount of $637,500. Now, the next input we need to enter is the interest rate. And these have been fluctuating quite a bit as well. But let's say for now, the average interest rate is 7%. Let's go ahead and enter that. And of course, this will vary quite a bit as well, depending on your credit score and a number of other factors. And also the number of years of the loan that you're looking at. So for number of years, 30 years is by far the most common in the US for a fixed rate mortgage. And if you're able to do a 20-year or even 15-year loan, that is definitely preferable because you'll pay less interest over the life of the loan. But of course, that'll make your monthly payment more expensive. So for now, let's say we're going to stick to 30 years. Hit enter. All right. In here, I've got the payment formula already built in, which essentially shows what your monthly mortgage payment will be for just principal and interest. And in this case, it's $4,241.30. But of course, that's not all in. There's still a couple of other items we need to factor in. One being PMI, the private mortgage insurance that I already mentioned, that if you don't come up with 20% of a down payment, then the bank will typically require you to pay this. And this will vary quite a bit also, depending on your credit score and a number of other factors. But on average, let's say it's right around 1% of the mortgage. And that translates to $531.25, which is pretty steep. So once you're able to get to 20% equity, then you can request that the bank remove this PMI. So the sooner you're able to get there, the better. The next input is property tax percentage. And no matter where you're located in the world, you'll have to pay property tax. And I'm located in LA County in California. And for me, it's right about 1.25% of the purchase price. Let's go ahead and enter that. And on a monthly basis, that translates to $781.25. The next input is homeowner's insurance. This is something that the bank will require you to get at the time of closing, at the time of the closing of the loan. So you should definitely shop around. This will also vary depending on where you're located. But let's say it's right around $100 per month. Finally, HOA or homeowner association fees. So if you're located somewhere where an HOA exists, such as a townhome or a condo, or even a neighborhood in which single family homes belong to an HOA, then you'll need to factor this in. But for me personally, I'm looking for a single family home that is not located in an HOA. So I'm going to make this 0. And that results in a total monthly payment of $5,653.80. And of course, now you can use this mortgage calculator to look at different purchase prices, down payments, and so on. Or we can go ahead and build our data table. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and copy in this formatting that I like to use for tables. And the first thing we're going to put here along this row is the property purchase price. And then here along this column, we will put down payment percentage. All right. So I have 5 cells here. And what I like to do in the middle cell, I like to make that the same as what we have in the inputs. So 750,000. And then we can look at what happens if we increase by $50,000. So let's just copy that across. And here I'm going to use Pay Special, Control Alt V, and just say formulas. Click OK. And that way, I don't mess up the formatting of my table. Remove essentially the outer box. That's what would happen if I just copied over. And then here, let's say we want to look at $50,000 less. So let's just copy that over. Great. And then down payment, again, in the middle cell, we're going to put 15%, which is the same thing we've got in the inputs. And we're going to increase it by 5% at a time. Again, Control V for Pay Special, F for formulas, click Enter. And then here we're going to say what happens if we put down 5% less, copy it up. And then we're ready to enter the last and probably most important piece, this top left cell. You need to make that equal to the number that you're trying to sensitize, in this case, the total monthly payment. So set that equal to C21, hit enter. I have the cell formatted to show white font. See, if you set it back to automatic, you can see it. But we don't need to be looking at that, so I like to keep it to just white font. It's not distracting us. Good, that's set, hit white again. And now the next thing you're going to do is go ahead and select this entire table. And then you're going to go up to Data, What If Analysis, Data Table. And then this data table is going to pop up asking for a row input cell and a column input cell. The row input cell is going to be the input that you have here going across the row, in this case, the property purchase price. So we're going to set that equal to cell C6. And then the column input cell is the one that's going here down along the column, or the down payment percentage, which is cell C7. So go ahead and select that, hit enter. And there you go. Quick answer to your question. I like to highlight this center cell. It's a good check to make sure that your data table is working correctly. $5,653.80 matches our mortgage calculator over here. Great. So you just need to make sure that if you go up to formulas, calculation options, it's set to automatic so that your data tables will automatically calculate. So now let's say you want to look at some additional scenarios at different interest rates. So we can go ahead and create an additional data table. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to copy this one down here, just to copy all the formatting. Okay. And right off the bat, what this does is it removes these data table formulas and just hard codes everything. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And we're going to keep this property purchase price up here, but this down payment, we're going to change it to look at different interest rates. And again, here in the middle cell, we're going to set that to what we have in the input. So in this case, 7%. I'm just going to increase decimals a little bit. And let's say we wanted to look at a range increasing by 5%, or rather by 0.5%. So in this case, 7.5% to 8%. And then here going down 5%, copy that up. Great. That's ready to go in the top left cell. So again, go ahead and select the entire table. And this time, instead of going up to data, what if analysis, what we're going to do is just hit Alt A W T, and that'll take us to the same pop-up asking for a row input cell, which again is the property purchase price. So go ahead and select cell C6. And now the column input cell is going to be the interest rate, which is cell C10. So select that and hit OK. Great. And now we have different monthly mortgage payments at different interest rates. So this is great. You can quickly see what you can afford. You can see how the monthly mortgage payment can vary drastically depending on these inputs. Now, of course, here in this table, this all assumes a down payment of 15%. But let's say you're able to come up with 20%, which would be amazing. So let's put down 20%. And these data tables automatically update, automatically calculate. And now you can see that your budget, so if you were previously looking at a budget or a monthly budget of $5,653.80, now at a 20% down payment, still at a 7% interest rate, it's $4,873. And if you're able to buy down your interest rate a little bit further, it drops to $46.73.66. Or maybe you say, well, you know what? I can afford a little bit more house. If I go up to an $800,000 budget, it's still not that much of an increase, and my monthly payment becomes $49.78.57. So really useful tool. This allows you to quickly see how much house you can afford depending on, these different parameters, the property price, the down payment percentage, the interest rate. And hopefully once you're able to save enough and actually purchase a home, this tool will help you figure out what is the right move for you or for you and your family and to get it done. So hopefully this has been helpful. Please let me know of any questions in the comments, and thanks for watching. All right, talk soon.